Thank you, hero. You've saved the town. Your reward is here. A chest full of gold.
A chest full of gold, you say? Well, I suppose we could find a use for it.
Greetings gamers, I'm Anto, and today we're going to be talking about how you can give your players more interesting rewards. Sooner or later, in most campaigns, gold becomes pretty much irrelevant to your party.
I'm only burning my half.
Part of the issue is that on the surface, there just isn't a lot to spend gold on. Once they've got a few magic items, boosted a few of their stats, and are well stocked in potions and scrolls, there isn't much on the equipment list included in the player's handbook that you really are going to want to spend your money on. So what can we do to make rewards more interesting for our players, and how can those rewards prompt further adventures? Well, a classic example of a non-gold reward is a magic item. Your players complete a task and in exchange are either given a magic item or are given the location of a magic item, which means they've got a whole other quest just to retrieve it. The chances are players will be more motivated to go and complete a quest if they know they're going to get a magic item at the end of it rather than gold. But you can't have your entire economy run on magic items. So what can we offer to our players instead? So here are a few suggestions on what to offer your players instead of gold and weapons. Option number one is property. This is a classic reward for higher level players. The characters spend several months campaigning across the world to reach the evil stronghold and conquer it. And once it's done, the local duke says to them, "Thank you, why don't you take this stronghold as your reward?" Castles, towers, and similar structures are really great rewards for your players after a long period of time in a campaign because they represent a significant monetary value, but they also represent something more. Property, strongholds, castles, towers, they represent a home for your players. A place for them to return after they've finished adventuring or maybe retire to and live out their days in peace. Property like towers or castles or strongholds is really great as a reward because it requires the players maintain it. They'll need to defend that property from invaders perhaps, or they'll need to spend gold on repairs or improvements to their new home. On a similar vein to a stronghold, you could reward your players with lands and a title. Maybe the players are coming to the end of a 6-month long campaign and they've just defeated the evil overlord for the region. So perhaps the king approaches the players and names them as protectors of this region and grants them the local lands and titles. Now the players have hundreds, maybe even thousands of people for whom they are responsible in some way. And those people will be impacted by the decisions that the players make going forward. There may be several towns in this region that the players can draw taxes from, giving them a stable income, but those towns also represent somewhere that must be defended by the players, giving you plenty of story hooks going forward. Or maybe their new title gives them access to organizations that were previously locked off from them. Maybe now that they are landed gentry, they can go to the capital city and access the inner walled portion of the city and rub elbows with other landowners, other important people, and maybe get quests from this new group of people. Another great reward that isn't gold or weapons is followers or a retinue. The old leadership feat is really good for this. It allows your players to take a cohort of lower level NPCs who follow them around, do their bidding, and it also gives them access to one or more slightly higher level NPCs who can aid them in combat or maybe become their second, possibly giving them an option for a character to play as should their current character die. If your party owns property or land, these followers can be used to maintain that or improve that property and land. Or if your players don't own any land, your cohort can act on behalf of the players. Maybe they can go out, gather intelligence for the players for their quests, make deals with new people to get them access to new magic items or new quest opportunities, or they can perform minor tasks like taking some items your players have found in the dungeon and selling them in the market. Your players might also want to train the cohort, train them up to be replacements for these players should the players ever fall in an adventure. Another great non-monetary reward that isn't a magic item for your players is to give them a business. Most friend groups that spend enough time together eventually will be sitting around at 3 a.m. and someone will say, "Hey, we should start a bar together."
We should buy a bar. Of course, we should buy a bar. We should totally buy a bar.
This option gives your players the chance to simulate that without any real world risk. Maybe your players have spent several weeks clearing out the dungeons beneath a tavern, and when they return to the surface, the tavern owner thanks them and says that they've had enough of this city life, it's too dangerous for them, they're going to retire out into the country. I tell you what, I'll make you a really good deal on the tavern if you want to buy it, seeing as though you've already invested something in protecting it. Most systems have rules for running a business and generating an income from it, but you don't have to go into all that. Your players don't need to do a whole bunch of bookkeeping. It can just be a purely flavor thing that they have. Or if they do want to do the bookkeeping, that's what an NPC cohort is for. Offload that work to the NPC cohort, which is really you, the dungeon master, and you just tell them what income they've generated month to month. Owning a business for the players opens up all kinds of possibilities. They get the stable income, but they also get to meet new NPCs who come through their business, either looking to purchase things from them or just passing through, and they might hear new rumors or new pieces of information that might prompt them to go on new adventures. And they also need to defend their business. If they're running a tavern, maybe a bar fight breaks out one night and they have to defend that. Or if the town or city that they're in is attacked and goes under siege, the players will have to rush back to make sure that their investment is protected. And finally, you can reward your players with something a little less tangible. Maybe after saving the Baron's daughter, the Baron thanks you and offers you a favour that you can call in at a later date as a reward. It's impossible to put any kind of monetary value on this kind of reward, but it can really save the player's bacon if used correctly. Maybe months after the players have completed the quest and saved the Baron's daughter, they find themselves needing to lay siege to an orc stronghold. So they go to the Baron and they call in their favour. They ask the Baron to help them. So the Baron assigns the players a squad of knights to help them retake the stronghold. The soldiers help the players retake the stronghold, and maybe once they have done so, the Baron will relinquish these soldiers to the players, giving them a cohort. Or maybe the Baron will say, why don't you take over this stronghold? You've proven yourself to be capable warriors and good for this region, so you take over the stronghold. Another intangible reward that I really like are secrets. Maybe the players complete a task for someone, they come back and whoever they've completed the task for says, I can't pay you in gold, but I can tell you a secret. And you've got so much scope for opportunity with secrets as the form of payment, because you can have them be really mundane, like, oh, the butcher's wife is having an affair with the baker, or you can really layer on some complexity and have it be more important. So maybe the butcher's wife is having an affair with the Baron, and now you've got leverage over a local business, but you've also got leverage over a person of significant power, and the players can use that to put pressure on the Baron to get themselves some rewards, or maybe it'll backfire and the Baron will be out to get them. Events like that can really unfold in unexpected ways, which is one of the reasons why I really like using secrets as an intangible reward. So there we have it, just a few ideas on how you can reward your party without giving them gold or magic items. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. I hope I've inspired you to experiment with some non-tangible rewards for your players, or giving them something that isn't just gold or a +1 sword. If you've used non-gold and non-magic item rewards in your campaign, I'd love to hear about it down in the comments below. But until next time, happy gaming. If you're new here and like what you see, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I release new RPG related content every single week. And if you enjoy what I do here, consider supporting me on Patreon. You get access to behind the scenes video, exclusive content, and a whole bunch more. And if you want to keep watching, I've got a couple of videos over there that you might enjoy. And until next time, happy gaming.